Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961, into an aristocratic British family with ties to the royal household. Although she grew up surrounded by privilege, her early life was marked by emotional disruption. Her parents' marriage was unhappy and ended in a highly public divorce. Diana later described her childhood as lonely and unstable, experiences that deeply affected her emotional development. She attended several boarding schools, where she struggled academically, but was known for her kindness, sensitivity, and strong emotional awareness. Teachers and peers often noted her natural ability to connect with others, particularly children. After leaving school, Diana moved to London and lived a relatively modest life. She worked as a nursery assistant and a nanny, earning a small income and sharing accommodation with friends. At this stage, she lived largely outside public attention and had no expectation of becoming a public figure. Her life changed dramatically in her late teens, when her association with the royal family brought her into the public eye. Diana first met Prince Charles in 1977, when she was 16 years old. Several years later, their relationship developed more seriously, encouraged in part by the expectations of the royal institution. To the monarchy, Diana appeared to meet the requirements of a future queen. She came from an aristocratic background, was young, and had little public history. To the public, she represented youth, elegance, and renewal. Their engagement was announced in 1981, when Diana was 19. From that moment, she became the focus of intense global media attention. Her image was widely celebrated, and she was quickly embraced by the public. The wedding, held at St. Paul's Cathedral in July 1981, was watched by hundreds of millions worldwide. It was presented as a modern fairy tale. However, the reality of the marriage proved difficult. Diana struggled to adapt to royal life and received limited emotional support. The age difference between the couple, combined with differing personalities and expectations, created distance. The ongoing presence of Camilla Parker Bowles in Prince Charles's life further strained the relationship.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Diana developed bulimia and experienced depression, conditions that were not openly discussed at the time. Despite these challenges, Diana carried out her public duties with increasing confidence. She demonstrated an ability to connect with people in a way that felt genuine and approachable, which set her apart from traditional royal behaviour. In June 1982, Diana gave birth to her first child, William, who would become the heir to the throne. Just 2 years later, she gave birth to Harry, who would be referred to as the Spare. Motherhood became a central part of her life. Diana was determined to raise her sons, William and Harry, with an understanding of the wider world. She involved them in everyday activities and exposed them to social issues, often breaking royal convention in the process. By the early 1990s, the marriage had broken down. The couple separated in 1992 and formally divorced in 1996. Following the separation, Diana began to speak more openly about her experiences. In a widely viewed television interview, she discussed her mental health struggles, the difficulties of her marriage, and the pressures of royal life. This level of public honesty was unprecedented for a member of the royal family. After her divorce, Diana redefined her public role. No longer constrained by royal protocol, she focused her efforts on humanitarian and charitable work. She became particularly involved in raising awareness about HIV and AIDS, at a time when misinformation and fear were widespread.
Well, I think the princess actually helped get that message across by the mere fact that she wasn't wearing gloves and the mere fact that she shook hands with the patients and myself.
Her decision to physically touch AIDS patients without protective gloves helped challenge stigma and change public attitudes.
HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it. What's more, you can share their homes, their workplaces, their playgrounds, and their toys. We all need to be alert to the special needs of those for whom AIDS is the last straw in an already heavy burden of discrimination and misfortune.
Diana also supported causes related to homelessness, mental health, children's welfare, and leprosy.
Eating disorders, whether it be anorexia or bulimia, show how an individual can turn the nourishment of the body into a painful attack on themselves.
She was known for visiting hospitals, shelters, and care facilities privately, without media presence. In 1997, she drew international attention to the issue of landmines by visiting Angola and walking through an active minefield. The images of this visit had a significant political and public impact, contributing to increased support for international landmine bans.
It is so welcome because the world is too little aware of the waste of life, limb, and land which anti-personnel landmines are causing among some of the poorest people on Earth.
She also entered a brief but closely scrutinised period of personal relationships, most notably with Hasnat Khan and later Dodi Fayed. Her relationship with Khan, a British-Pakistani heart surgeon, was largely private and emotionally significant. Those close to Diana later described him as the man she loved most deeply. However, the partnership ultimately faltered under the strain of media attention, cultural differences, and conflicting expectations of public life.
When I started my public life 12 years ago, I understood the media might be interested in what I did, but I was not aware of how overwhelming that attention would become.
In contrast, her relationship with Dodi Fayed in the summer of 1997 was intense, short-lived, and highly public, unfolding under constant paparazzi pursuit and widespread speculation about a potential engagement. This final relationship came to an abrupt end when Diana and Fayed were killed together in a car crash in Paris. The global reaction to her death was extraordinary. Millions of people gathered to mourn, leaving flowers and messages outside royal residences. Her funeral was watched by billions worldwide. Public response highlighted the deep emotional connection many people felt towards her. It also prompted reflection on the role of the media, public institutions, and the expectations placed on public figures. Diana's legacy extends beyond her charitable work. She helped change how mental health is discussed, particularly in relation to public life. She influenced a shift toward greater emotional openness and empathy among leaders and institutions. Her sons have continued many of the causes she supported, reinforcing her long-term impact. Today, she's remembered not only as a princess, but as a figure who used her position to draw attention to suffering, challenge social norms, and humanize an institution often seen as distant. Diana once said she wished to be remembered as someone who cared deeply about people.
Do you think you'll ever be Queen?
No, I don't. No.
Why do you think that?
I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts. But I don't see myself being queen of this country. I don't think many people would want me to be queen. Actually, when I say many people, I mean the establishment that I'm married into, because they've decided that I'm a non-starter.